Hi sweeties, Gyampa. If you don't already know by now, Kalibito Gyampa, and welcome back to our channel. It's been a hot minute since I've actually done a reading wrap up, and because I promised to be more consistent, welcome to our July reading wrap up. So basically this is where I just get to tell you about all the books I read in the previous month, what they were about, without spoiling it for you, and hopefully encouraging you to add them to your TBR and read them yourself. Without further ado, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below if you have anything to say. Remember, constructive criticism. I repeat, constructive criticism. Let's get into it. So in the month of July, I actually read 10 books. Okay, let's just change that up. I read more books, but I finished 10 books. And not because the books that I read but did not finish were not good, but somehow July was just a month of reading slumps. I read a book, got into a reading slump, read a book, got into a reading slump, started a book, went halfway, forgot about it. And then read another book, finished it. I mean, it was just back and forth. I don't understand why. But yeah, I think my most sorry, dark romance. I think leave towards the end of July was where I started to actually get out of the slump I was in mid-July, because I read more books towards the end. But let's just talk about them. Like I said, I read 10 books, finished the 10 books. 3 were physical copies, 7 were ebooks, and I just genuinely can't remember how many fantasies and how many dark romance books I read. So we're just gonna go with whatever pops up first. In no particular order, let's start with the physical books. Right, yeah. The first one, The Love Hypothesis by Ellie Hazelwood. This was my first ever Ellie Hazelwood book, and I highly recommend her books. This is just one of the books that got me out of the reading slump in July, and I adored it. But one thing I have to tell you, remember that trend on TikTok where like people are trying to make authors ban cartoon covers on books because they're very deceitful? I get it. I get it. Let me tell you, I went into this book knowing it's gonna have spice because of book talk, right? I did not know the amount of spice, and not even the amount of spice, the extent of that spice. This book, the cover does not do it justice. Like, actually it does because it's two scientists, but the things I read. And I feel like what traumatized me more, not even traumatized, what intrigued me more about it was the fact that the spice was back to back. It was like chapter 23 and chapter 24. And then a bit of in between chapters there. But I highly enjoyed this book. Basically, this is fake dating and college romance. Both of them are, either one is a lecturer, the other one is a student pursuing a PhD or something. Can't remember the science behind everything because I was too involved in the smut, but can't believe I said that, but yeah, whatever. So Olive does not believe in love, but her best friend does, and because of that, she is placed in a situation where she has to convince her best friend that she has a happily ever after, or she wants a happily ever after. And so she has to find someone that's actually willing to go along with that facade of she's happy, she's in a relationship, so that her best friend can be happy with someone. And that's where Adam comes into play. He agrees to fake date with Olive, but also has his own agenda as well. So the romance was definitely there. So it's just the journey of how they fall in love, how Grumpy, Sunshine literally come together to make shit work for the situationship that is fake dating. And I highly recommend this book. If you're just getting into reading, I would also recommend this book. If you're getting into spice, I would recommend this book. Okay, never mind that one. This might be a bit too spicy for people that are getting into spice. It's not spicy at all, but if you're someone getting into spice, spicy. I just repeated that, but yeah, we're there. It's fine. So yeah, I gave this book I think 4 stars. Can't remember, but now that I'm thinking about it, as I am making this book review, I'm giving this book 4 stars. Second book, we have Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. This is a fantasy romance book, romantasy if I may, but I did not find the romanticy in this book. I enjoyed this book. Trust me, I enjoyed this book. This book follows right after the Caraval series and everything has taken place. So now we jump straight into Jack's story. I adored Jack from the Caraval series. A lot of people did not like his character in Caraval. I adored him. So going into this, I knew he was my man. Because the things this man does in this book, I think this is when I realized that I love red flags in a man. Because why was I like, each and every time he did something, I was like, it's okay, I can forget that. He didn't mean to. It's okay. It's okay, baby. I was so delulu for Jack throughout this whole book. And going forward, I know I'm still going to be delulu for him throughout the entire series. Because he's just that guy. And I adore him. So basically, the female main character, Evangeline, has always wanted a happily ever after, but that shit can't happen anymore because her true love, or the love of her life, is getting married to her stepsister. So now she tries everything to like try and stop the wedding, but can't because he won't talk to her. And so her last resort is to go to the Prince of Hearts to try and figure out if, okay, he's willing to help. And he does. Highly enjoyed this book, 4 stars. And then we go to the third book, Happy Place by Emily Henry. Where was the happy place in this book? What was the happy place in this book? I sobbed through this book. I cried my heart out through this book. Don't let the cover fool you. Do you see how pretty this cover is? Do you see how pretty? Like, gorgeous. Don't let this fool you. You will sob. You will cry. Because why did I relate so much to the pain? I think being an empathetic person is just freaking weird. Because why did I feel her pain? Why did I feel everything she said to him, everything she wanted to say to him but did not say to him? Everything she was delulu about, but was like, okay, fine, you know what? He's not mine, even though I want him to be mine, but he's no longer mine and I want him to be happy. Man, what do you mean? Why did that break my heart? A lot of people were like, this book is gonna break you and put you back together. I'm still waiting for the part where it puts me back together. In the room with us, because it definitely was not in the room with me when I finished reading this book, and I still waited for the part where it puts me back together. I still have trauma over this book, still trying to understand. Okay, I get that it's a happily ever after, but it did not make sense. Like the trauma, the miscommunication. I just hate miscommunication, especially when it hits home. When you know you can relate to this type of miscommunication. Do I even want to tell? Did I even tell you what this book is about? They've been together for the longest time. Literally everyone and their mother believes that they were meant to be. They make the perfect couple up until they don't anymore and they break up. The problem is they do not tell their friends that they broke up. So now they have to keep up this facade of fake dating in front of their whole friends just to not ruin everyone's trip, because they're on a trip together, right? But then as they have to like carry on this facade of fake dating, shit comes to light and then feelings just start pouring out, because literally you've been with this guy majority of your life. You shared everything. He is the love of your life. So of course shit's gonna get complicated, things are gonna get hard, and you can't fake it till you make it with him, because it's always been him until it stopped being him and just you alone. But now that you're with him in the same room, same bed, same environment, with the same people that made you fall in love with him, at the same place that made you two be together. That's all I'm gonna say with this book. It was a beautiful book. I know I gave it, I think, a 4-star. Right now that I am doing this video, 5 stars. Now that I thought about it, marinated, I think, for like a couple of days, 5 stars. The 4th book is actually not a fiction book. It is a non-fiction book. Don't worry, I am as shocked as you are, but it was so good. It is called I'm Glad My Mom Died by Janet something. Wait, let me check. Janet McCurdy. I have no idea how to pronounce it. If I butchered that name, so sorry. This was a very powerful and emotional book, but not emotional in terms of like you want to cry or you want to sob, just emotional in terms of what she went through with her mother, like the relationship she had with her mother and the relationship she had with herself afterwards. I mean, her family is just so heart-wrenching, you know. And somehow it felt a bit weird for me because I'm a fiction reader, like I read fiction all the time. So switching from fiction to non-fiction and then having to put myself in a scenario where I have to think, no, this literally happened to her. This is a story about her life, like a time in her life where everything just went south. Like, this is not fiction, this is not something someone made up, this literally happened to her, and she's recalling everything, writing it down, and you are reading her experience. So it was just so different and so much, I think, warmer, if I could just say that, if that makes sense. Like, it was so warming to read it, even though the book itself was so heartbreaking. I all I can say is I genuinely hope she finds peace. You know, I would genuinely hope like she heals, she learns to forgive, because the shit she went through in that book, yeah, no. I don't even think I want to summarize this book because I won't do it justice. Not even doing it justice. I think I'm just gonna spoil it for you guys, and because I have so much to say about this book, but each and everything I want to say is just a spoiler. So definitely recommend this book. It was a 3.5-star read for me, and for my first non-fiction book that I actually started and finished in one sitting, less than 24 hours. Amazing. Amazing. The 5th book I read is Call It What You Want. And for all my girlies, this one's for the girlies. I'm sorry guys, this book break is for the girlies. For all my girlies that's been in a situationship with someone's son, with someone's child, read this book. Okay, and before you come for me, I just want to say this is not even a book about finding closure with your situationship or learning to move on from your situationship. No, it's about reading what someone else went through while they were in a situationship and seeing the dumb ass shit they did for that person and kept on going back. Heartbreak back, heartbreak back. Each and everything that guy did, she literally went back. And I sat down with myself and I'm like, was I this delusional? Man, I literally had to close the book and think to myself, was I this delusional? Was I this crazy? Because there's no way that I gave a guy this many chances after he did so much shit. It's so easy. And the reason I'm saying this is because it is so easy for you to judge from an outsider's point of view because you've never been in that situation. Wait till you're inside and then you'll realize what the hell is going on. Because tell me why I got so fucking annoyed at one point. Like, I got mad at her at one point, but then I pulled myself back. I'm like, Mpo, did you not do the same though? That was like a motherfucking slap in the face. Like, I did not even try to judge her in any way because at one point I was her. Like, I was her. Different scenario, but same situation. The situationship. And I'm not even gonna give you a summary of this book. I don't know how this reading wrap up is gonna go, honestly, because I'm no longer telling you what the book is about. I'm just giving you a brief on what's going on. But I still stand with the fact that if you've ever been in a situationship, you got out, and if you want to read someone else's experience in a situationship and what happened, definitely the book for you. And then the next book I read is Never Lie by Frida McFadden, which is a thriller. Not gonna lie, I was a little disappointed with this one because a lot of people were like, this is her best work, right? Like, this is her best work. And I was a bit disappointed with this book. And not because it was a bad book, let's just get that out of the way. Not because it was a bad book or the writing was bad, but because for me, if I can guess like one of the plot twists and I'm correct, it does not work for me. I get so annoyed because I guessed, I think, two of the plot twists in the book and I was correct. And I was like, yeah, I did not rejoice. And this is the first time I've ever like guessed correctly in a thriller book. And I thought, like, if I guessed one of the plot twists in a thriller book, I'd be so happy, like, I got it. But I was actually fairly disappointed in the book. I don't know why that happened, but then it did. I gave this book a 3-star read. It is it was a good book. Like, it was a good book, but I personally did not enjoy it as much as I believed I would. You know, this book is about a newlywed couple that like goes house hunting, you know, looking for their new home, and they come across this house. They go inside, but then they realize that they're trapped because of like a snowstorm or something. So they forced to like stay in that house for like 3 days or 4 days. But they realized that the house belonged to a psychiatrist that has gone missing. So the psychiatrist has been missing for quite a while now. And on the first night, the female, which I forgot her name, comes across these recordings, like I think tapes or something, where the psychiatrist used to record her patients while they were talking or having their sessions, and she plays them every single night. Not every single night, but then like she just plays them, and shit starts to unfold. Secrets come to life, yada yada yada. Yeah, and that is it. Okay, and then the next book I read is Morning Glory Milking Farm. Basically, she's a human and he is a bull. The anatomy did not make sense to me because how? But it worked. I got tingly. It worked. And I loved them. I loved every minute of that milking farm. It was a 5-star read for me. And just to sum it up for you, basically she's jobless, so she needs to get a job. She finds a job at this milking farm where they literally milk bulls. Just to correct myself, you cannot milk a bull because it's not a cow. But you know how they milk their semen from them, and they have to use manual labor, meaning physically milk it from them. And this is a special farm where they pick the highest elite bulls that have strong things very good. Yes. So now she gets to know one of them. She's already milked one of them, the same one she got to know, you know. Yeah, she falls in love with him, he falls in love with her on the milking farm. It was a great palate cleanser. Spectacular. Sometimes you just need a little unhinged book just to make you realize just how weird you are. Yeah, next book. The next book we have His Darkest Craving. This is a dark fantasy romance. Give this book 3.5. I was gonna be 3.5.5. 3.5-star rating. He's a monster that guards the forest. He was what was he? He was banished. Yes, He was banished from somewhere and then forced to rule the dark forest. She's a girl that's running away from her abusive husband or her abusive boyfriend, can't remember which one. She stays in a remote house near the forest and they get together, consummate the forest. She's stubborn, he's very much thick-headed. I think, like, I understand why she's stubborn. You're like a demon in the forest and then you want to come inside my house. I think what I most enjoyed about this book is the fact that the demon is obsessed with her from the get-go. Like, the minute he sees her, he's like, you mine, you are mine, and because you're mine, I need you, I want you, I will have you. And he does, in every single way. Yeah. Next book, Before the Coffee Gets Cold. This was a very, again, emotional book. This book is about a coffee shop that takes you into the future and or the past. So you can literally go anywhere, but there are certain rules that you need to abide by in order for the coffee shop and the experience of traveling to work, and it is 4 stories into one book. It's a very short book though, even though they're 4 stories, and each and every story is emotional. It is beautifully written. I think it was just translated in Japanese or something, Korean, I can't remember, and translated to English. Honestly, it is a beautiful book and I would recommend you read it. I get the hype on Book Talk. I get why this book is so hyped on Book Talk. And the last book I read is The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa. And let me tell you, I think I found my favorite romance writer. I honestly, when I said I'm looking for a fluffy romance that has like no, like that does not make you cry, like a fluffy romance that does not make you cry, that's not emotional, that does not make you think, like a romance where you're not getting into reading, it's just cute, fluffy, even though like there's miscommunication, but it's just a teeny weeny bit and they solve it, and this was it. I loved every minute of this book. The drama was everything, the writing was beautiful, the people were giving what they needed to give, and because of that, the book was a 5-star read. In all honesty, I loved this book. Do you see the cover of this book? It describes the book entirely. She, on her wedding day, I forgot the name of the characters because I'm shit with names, but on her wedding day, her fiance literally left her at the altar. Not even left her at the altar. Her fiance sent his little brother to go tell her that they're not getting married, that he's not coming. I would hunt him down. Because what do you mean? First of all, you can't even face me with the choice you made. You sending your little brother to do your dirty work for you. My brother. And then he's like, nah, he went away to find himself for a couple of months. Find yourself when I'm waiting at the church for you. Joe, you must be one of God's favorite, to be honest, because I would have never allowed such. But yeah, thank you so much for getting this far into the video, and I hope you actually do read one of these books, or even all of them, just to test yourself. But anyways, see you in the next video. Mwah!